Hello guys, it's me, Gemma.
And me, Sally.
And we are here at the Crumbs and Doilies kitchen. We have snuck in on a quiet weekend like little Christmas elves to make the follow-up video to our last video that we did together, which was the Christmas cake video.
Yes, so today we're going to make some marzipan from scratch, which is so much better than buying it from the store, just like everything is. And then we're also going to make some royal icing, and then we're going to decorate our Christmas cake. So hopefully you have baked your Christmas cake and you have been feeding it with alcohol or orange juice. If you haven't, don't worry, but get on it quick because Christmas is fast approaching.
Feed that cake, guys, because we need to decorate it now. Now, traditionally, a Christmas cake is covered in marzipan, which we're going to show you how to make, and then covered in royal icing, which is what we're going to do. And the best thing about that is not only does it all taste really nice, the marzipan kind of locks in the freshness, so you can actually decorate this cake a little bit ahead of Christmas if you would like to get that job out of the way and just kind of hide it in a cupboard and then prepare to bring it out to surprise everyone on Christmas. Or you can do this the night before Christmas if you like, but we are showing this to you now so you have all the skills in advance.
Yes, so the first thing we need to do is make our marzipan, which is ever so easy. So what you need to grab is a heat-proof bowl, metal or glass, because we are going to put this on a bain-marie, so don't get a plastic bowl.
Who knew?
Probably melt. And we're going to add to that 90 grams of both caster sugar and icing sugar. Oh, it's dramatic, isn't it? And now into that we are going to add 1 egg. But as you can see, I have 2 eggs here, guys. That's because we're making a double batch because we've each got a cake to cover. But in the description box below, I'll give you all the quantities for a single and double batch. So do have a look at that. So I'm going to go in with my 2 eggs here, and you are going to whisk these together.
I sure am.
Yeah.
I'm using my giant balloon whisk. Now, at the beginning, this feels like super stiff. You're like, surely this is wrong. But it does loosen up eventually as the egg breaks down and the sugar dissolves.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's all come together. It's starting to loosen a little bit. So we're going to put it on the hob over a bain-marie just for about 5 minutes to cook out the egg, because obviously this is raw egg. So bain-marie, as you probably know, is a saucepan with 1 inch of simmering water in it. Make sure that the water doesn't touch the bottom of your pan, and you're just going to leave it on for 5 minutes. It will keep kind of getting a bit looser and the sugar will dissolve.
It's pretty hard work right now.
But I feel like Sam might put some Christmassy music onto this bit, where we can go shake our, what are they called?
Booties?
Sleigh bells. No!
Maracas!
This one was a maraca Christmassy.
Jingle, 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 jingle. What's your favourite Christmas song?
Well.
It's not even really a Christmas song because there's no words. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Oh, I think I'll miss this one this year.
What about the one, it's the holiday season?
Oh, that's awesome.
It is, yeah.
And Santa Claus is coming round. There's lots of snow on the ground or something. And Santa Claus is coming down.
La la la. So put a peppermint stick for old Saint Nick. I think this is probably ready.
Are we done?
I think it's done, guys. I think it's done.
Oh. Snow coming down. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away.
This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. Has it been 5 minutes yet? Come on. 4 minutes 37. We need 23 seconds of entertainment, guys.
I got 21 seconds to go. And then we're like, 21 seconds before I got to go. You see me in the video. Oh no.
Hey! Cool. We're ready. Now that's been on for 5 minutes exactly, and it's looking lovely and smooth, and it's a lot paler in colour as well. So now we're going to pour it into some ground almonds, which is the main point of marzipan.
You say almonds?
Ingredients. I say almond.
I say
know.
almond.
It's a big debate between Gemma and I, probably.
Envelope, potato, patata.
So I've got 175 grams of ground almonds here, and we're going to pour the egg mixture into the middle. And then we're going to grab a big wooden spoon and first of all just stir this together. And as it comes together, it should form like this thick paste that we've got here, but if yours feels a little bit dry, then just add a splash of water, a little bit at a time, until it does come together and it looks like this. And now it is time to use our hands. So we're going to turn this out onto the surface. And now, first of all, we want to bring it all together into a big blob, and then we'll divide it by 2 so we can both have a little go.
I want some.
You want some, I know you do. Oh, it feels so lovely.
It's all warm as well.
It's so warm, right, so let's just say, there we go. And now we just need to knead this for about 5 minutes, because as you can see, it's quite kind of crumbly, and this is very different to shop-bought marzipan, but don't worry, this is as it should be.
Yeah, the shop-bought stuff it's great, but it's and it's really pliable, but it does have a kind of taste to it. Like they often add almond extract, which is fine. And if you want to add almond extract as well, that's cool too. You can probably do that at the mixing stage when you're mixing the egg with the ground almonds. But I quite like this like subtle almond flavour rather than a real punch-in-the-face almond.
Yeah, I do, and I think a lot of people kind of stay away from marzipan because of that flavour. So if you are one of those people, then really I'd recommend giving this a go because it doesn't have that kind of artificial taste to it.
Exactly. If you're not a marzipan lover but you've never tried this particular thing, then you're probably going to really love it.
I love this stuff. And as we knead it, you'll see it's sort of like the oils from the almonds are starting to release, because as you know, nuts are super, super oily, and it will become a little bit smoother, but it's never going to be sort of like sugar paste or anything like that. It is crumbly and it is kind of dry, so don't worry. But just 5 minutes of kneading, and you can already see it's looking a lot kind of smoother here.
I still need to do mine for a little bit longer.
You need to get on kneading, girl. Oh yeah.
It's like a workout.
It is a good workout, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so once you've sort of kneaded it and it's feeling a little bit smoother and more like one thing, just get it into a bit of a ball or a disc. And we're actually going to wrap these up. I'm just going to grab some cling film from over here.
Yeah, because of the egg that's in here, it dries out really quickly. So you don't want to have it just sitting around exposed to the elements. You want to wrap that stuff.
Well, you do indeed. And well, I would always recommend making this just before you're going to use it, but you could store this for a couple of days just at room temperature. But we're just going to put them to one side. We're going to have a little clean down, and we're going to get our Christmas cakes so that we can start covering them.
Yeah, there you go. You wash
Oh,
up.
thanks.
I'll just hang around dancing.
So here are our delicious Christmas cakes, smelling so good. And now we're gonna cover them with the marzipan, but we need something to stick them on with, don't we?
Yes, like a little bit of glue. The marzipan is quite sticky, but if you just tried to put it onto the cake, it would eventually come off quite easily.
Yes, so we've actually got some apricot jam here. It's just a really lovely flavour. I think strawberry jam or raspberry jam would be a little bit weird and not very Christmassy.
Well, yes, and the apricot goes quite well with the other fruits in the cake as well.
Yes,
so
exactly.
there you go.
But as you can see, it's quite kind of stiff. So we're just going to loosen it a little bit with a tiny bit of boiling water. Just a splash, like so. Give it a little mix. And now you don't need to put loads of jam on here. We just, like Gemma said, it's just a little bit of lubricant.
Like wallpaper paste.
Yeah.
But really tasty.
Tasty wallpaper paste. So if you have a pastry brush or a paintbrush, then those are ideal tools.
As long as you haven't used it for paint.
Yeah. Painting your bathroom. So then dip it in your apricot jam, and then you just want to put a light coat over the whole cake. Shiny.
I love it.
Yeah, so it's done?
I think it is.
Okay, great. So, time to cover.
Yes.
Ooh.
So what you might find is that your Christmas cake has a few holes in it. Because this is such a lumpy batter to start with, you quite often don't get a nice sort of smooth cover. So you can, if you want, and I'm going to because I like that, if you've got any really significant holes, you want to fill those first with your marzipan, just so that you've got a nice flat surface. Otherwise, when you come to cover, you might get air bubbles or little sort of dents. Okay, I've identified a hole here, so I'm just going to pack a little bit of marzipan in there. It's quite satisfying, actually, filling holes with marzipan.
So whilst Gemma is filling in her holes, I'm just going to put a little bit of marzipan around the bottom of my cake, because as you can see, I've turned it upside down, and then I'm just going around and putting a tiny bit of marzipan into the kind of crack at the bottom. How you doing?
I think I'm done.
Fabulous. So should we get covering?
Yes, so marzipan isn't quite the same as things like sugar paste or fondant if you've used that before, and homemade marzipan is also very different to shop-bought marzipan. It's a lot less forgiving, if you like, because with those ones you can probably roll out the whole thing and cover the whole cake in one fell swoop, but with this stuff you want to do it in kind of pieces.
Yeah, because it is, like we've been saying, it is a little bit drier and it does crack, but honestly, don't worry. We're going to cover all of this with lovely royal icing, and you can, if it cracks, we can kind of piece it together just like we have with filling the holes. So you might want to get a little bit of icing sugar onto your surface before you roll it out. So just a little dusting here. Obviously, don't use flour. That's
No, you could use corn flour.
You could use corn flour, yes.
But icing sugar is nice and sweet, so it complements it, I think.
Yes, definitely. And then, so as you can see, we've just broken off a little bit of marzipan to work with, because we are going to do this in sections. We're going to start with the top, I think. Is that right?
I believe so.
Yes, let's start with the top. And we're going to do about kind of 2 to 3 mil thickness, because that's our preferred amount. But if you really love marzipan, you might want to make like a double or a 1.5 quantity, so you can get a nice thick wodge on there. So just like pastry or sugar paste, you're going to roll this out. Keep it moving as you roll it. We want to get a bit that's sort of about the size of the top of our cake.
I'm done.
Okay, so now, very carefully, pick up your marzipan and you want to sit it on top of your cake and just give it a little pat down. Lovely. And then grab yourself a knife or a palette knife or something, and we're just going to cut off the bits that are kind of poking off the edge. All done? All right, so let's move on to the sides.
Yes, so you want to do these a little bit at a time, because the chances of you being able to roll out a perfect strip long enough for the whole cake is pretty small. But if you do manage to do that, let us know in the comments box.
Yeah, congrats, guys.
So just do a little piece at a time, and then just kind of whack it on, and we'll just pinch it together to kind of fix it to the top section. So we have completed our marzipaning. So now it's time for the next bit, which is royal icing. We've used royal icing in a bunch of videos, and there are loads of things you can do with it, but one of them is to cover a Christmas cake.
Yes, and because you can get loads of fun textures with it, you can make it look, I believe how you're going to make it look, all kind of spiky and textured on the outside.
Like an ice landscape.
Like a nice landscape. It dries nice and firm as well. It's the really great icing to use on your Christmas cakes, and it's really easy to make as well.
Super easy. So we have a bowl here, my mixer, ready to go. I've got 400 grams of icing sugar, which I've sifted. It is important to sieve your icing sugar, because you don't want to get lumps in this. And I'm going to add 15 grams of egg white powder.
You can also just use egg white if you can't find egg white powder. It's quite a niche ingredient. We'll put different quantities and different recipes in the description box below, so do have a look at that.
So I'm just going to get that going on a low speed. It will puff up. Whoa. Puff up a little bit. I just want to mix those two together a bit. And then I'm going to start adding water, and I'm going to add about 4 tablespoons altogether.
So if you feel like your mix is struggling and it's a little bit dry in there and a bit stiff, just add a tiny little bit of water at a time just to loosen it up. You don't want to add too much because it will go really soggy and you won't be able to cover your cake, but this is the consistency that you want to look for.
It's a little bit like sort of mid to firm peak if you're making a meringue. And once you've got it to that consistency, you want to whack the mixer back on, but at a higher speed, and give it a really good beating for about 5 minutes.
That's just going to add a little bit of volume in there and make it slightly fluffy.
It's ready. Look at that.
It looks really kind of fluffy, doesn't it?
Yes.
I think it is worth like giving it that extra whip. You can do it with a hand whisk as well.
You can.
Because you can see how it's gone really kind of fluffy, it looks really glossy. It's going to be really nice to ice our cakes with. So,
It sure is.
Give me some icing, girl.
Okie dokie.
Oh, yeah.
It looks really appetizing, but it's basically just sugar, which is fine.
Yeah, more than that.
Fine by me. Never had a problem with that before. So,
Lovely, okay.
with royal icing, as usual, you want to make sure you don't leave it exposed to the air for too long. So if you are going to do your cake a little bit later, make sure you cover that with cling film, because otherwise it's going to crisp up and go lumpy and crispy and horrible.
Yeah, we would recommend doing like the marzipan, making this just before you use it, because it is at its best when it's just been whipped up.
Yeah.
So now we're just going to ice them like we were icing any regular kind of cake with buttercream.
Except that I'm going to do mine like an Arctic wasteland.
An Arctic
Or no,
wasteland.
Wonderland, not a wasteland. This is Christmas. We want wonder, not waste.
Wow. Okay, so we've got our turntables and various palette knives, which you can get for yourself if you want to head over to CupcakeJemma.com just in time for Christmas. But let's just get this icing on. It's so lovely and fluffy. Here we go.
Oh, you're going sides
yeah,
first.
I'm going sides.
Interesting. What's that say about a person, I wonder? Well, yours looks really nice.
Oh, thanks. So does yours. Look at that winter wonderland.
It is like a winter wonderland.
Not like a winter wasteland.
No. I don't even know what that looks like.
So I'm going to move on with the sprinkles because this is drying. I don't know if we've said that already. It dries really quickly. So you do, if you're going with sprinkles, you do want to get them on pretty fast. I think I'm going to go for a nice little ribbon around the bottom of the sprinkles. So I'm going to grab a nice big handful here and push them into the side of the cake. Cute.
And I think I've got enough peaks here, so I'm going to start putting little characters on. So we've got some penguins and gingerbread men and snowmen, and I'm just going to have them kind of poking up in between all my icebergs. I think that's what they probably are. Is it nearly eating time, Sally?
Yes, we can eat them, but you can save yours for Christmas.
I'm going to.
We can eat my
This is
one.
mine.
So the
Can't even
icing's
try
not.
It's too heavy.
They are so heavy. It's not completely dried yet, but that's fine. We want to eat
We can
them,
handle
right?
that.
Okay, so should
Yeah.
we cut some slices?
Yeah.
All right.
I think probably just one slice though, because it's quite rich and quite heavy, so I don't know if we could handle a whole slice right
Oh,
now.
I think we could.
All
Right,
right.
ready? Here we go. Oh my gosh, it feels so good.
Ooh, yummy. Suddenly it smells really Christmassy. Oh, yeah.
It looks really juicy. We've got all the nuts and the fruit in there, very evenly distributed, and then we've obviously got the marzipan and the icing. It looks pretty amazing, doesn't it?
I can't wait to have this, because when you make a Christmas cake, you can't even
I'm gonna
enjoy
give
it
you
for
your own
ages.
piece.
It's quite annoying.
Yeah, no, that's true. We're eating this a month ahead, but who cares? Right, there you go.
Make Christmas every day. Woohoo!
Right, let's dig in.
Okay. Get a bit of everything.
How good is that?
I mean, that's pretty good. I'd say like 9.9 out of 10.
What's yours then? A 10?
I have no idea.
We don't know what yours is like.
Well, I'll tell you on Christmas Day. Maybe it'll have time to mature.
It's so lovely, isn't it? It's so, you can
Ooh, it's
taste
like-
all that brandy. Oh, that is so good.
It's got a really nice mouthfeel.
There's so many different textures in there because then you get the crunch of the nut as well.
I just got one.
There we go. Oh, it's absolutely delicious. And we are both Christmas cake converts, aren't we?
We are.
Neither of us used to like it when we were kids, and this is amazing. Like, I could happily eat most of that. I reckon
We should give it a go.
we could. Tune in next week to see how much Christmas cake.
Oh, God. It's like a food eating competition.
God, that'd be awful. Although I do think I'd be really good at them.
Yeah, me too, secretly.
Right.
Well,
there we
that's
go.
that. We've made our Christmas cake, so go forth, make your Christmas cake as well. Let us know how you get on. I know that this year, Christmas is probably going to be slightly different to your usual Christmas, but maybe you've just started a new tradition that you can keep going for years to come that will remind you that Christmas is all right.
Yeah, and this is such a lovely thing to do with your kids or with your
Yeah.
family, so hopefully it brings you a little bit of joy this year. And we can't wait to see all your photos. Keep tagging us on Instagram.
Yeah. And don't forget, there's still time, just about, to get hold of our baking kits and merch if you want to give those the gift of baking.
Baking this Christmas.
Oven gloves.
Yeah, and obviously we've got all our awesome Christmas kits at the moment. You can get one of the hot chocolate ones, or you can get the Cupcake Jemma mugs, which you never used to be able to get unless you came to Soho, but yeah.
Rare.
Enjoy making your Christmas cake, and we'll be back very soon with some more recipes for you guys.
Sure will.
Thanks for coming, Gemma.
Thanks for having me, Sally.
It was a pleasure. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Just eat some more cake.
Yeah.